With that, we say good morning to Greg Jennings. Greg, let me ask you this. Does Belichick need to get to another Super Bowl now that Brady did it without him?
No, it's not about Tom Brady for Belichick. When I look at Belichick and look at so many other coaches and player combinations, we can look at Andy Reid right now, and we can say, well, Andy Reid wouldn't be the coach he is because without Patrick Mahomes. And we can say the same thing with Bill Belichick. And I think anytime we see these coaches that have had runs with very special players, that's what it's all about. He was the coach that took Tom Brady. So he has to get credit for acquiring that type of a talent. Now, Tom Brady put in the work, and he put the skill set on the field, and he allowed it to manifest. But together is what made it special. And so I don't think it's ever been about Tom Brady. I think he's going to find a way to get it done. He's probably in his little dungeon brewing up some free agents, circling some free agents that he wants that will drastically improve his roster so that he has a chance next year, because I know this season more than anything pained him the way they performed offensively and defensively. But when you see Tom Brady about to enter into Super Bowl 55, it definitely is in the back of his mind like, oh, man, I got to do something.
So 2 points here, Greg. One is you mentioned Andy Reid, but I do think Andy Reid's instructive because I think it is important to Andy Reid's legacy when we talk about where he is in the coaching pantheon that he did make 4 straight conference championship games and a Super Bowl with a different team, different quarterback, different everything in Philadelphia. If he had been, if he had had a Jim Schwartz resume before he got to Mahomes and the Chiefs, sorry, Jim, then I think people would be like, okay, like this is Mahomes and you got lucky you were picked as the coach. But I think when we talk about Mahomes and the Chiefs, often when people are trying to say, well, is he the MVP? Is he the best player in the league? People are like, well, he does have Andy Reid. He has that offense. He has Andy Reid dialing things up. So I think Andy's history matters. But Wilds, I just want to throw a hypothetical to you, because whether it's fair or not, this is where the narrative goes. If this year Tom Brady had gone to Tampa and gone 6-10, and if this year the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, don't we think that would hurt Tom Brady? Don't you? 100%. Is there any argument that people would be like, that hurts Tom Brady? So when the opposite happened, why wouldn't it, fair or not, hurt Belichick if we know vice versa would have hurt Brady?
Yes, I think that's 100% correct. I think Bill Belichick needs to eventually get to and hopefully win another Super Bowl. And I think next year, when the Bucs and Tom Brady come into Gillette, Belichick needs to win convincingly. What the fans are going to do, you're cheering, you're booing, I don't know what you do. But Belichick needs to do those 2 things. Your old buddy KW feeling very optimistic, Brandon, for a few reasons. Our opt-outs are back. We got the 4th most cap space. We got the 15th pick. And get this, I didn't even realize this. All these new coaches, Belichick gets a shot at 5 of them next year. We got the Jets, we got the Chargers, we got the Falcons. So we're feeling good. We got the Texans. Here's the other reason. Well, here's a problem, but why I feel good about that cap space. We only average 180 yards through the air. Not great. Actually, pretty bad. 3rd worst in the whole league. So we're going to need a new quarterback as much as I love Cam. I like Jimmy G. We know that Belichick would always want Jimmy G back. We know Kyle Shanahan doesn't love Jimmy G. But then it's like, oh, but we don't have any weapons. Oh, if only there was a player like Randy Moss who was drafted by one team and kind of had some career years and then left that team. And then that team's like, we don't know if this guy, oh, there he is. There he is, taking his shoes off on the sidelines of Foxborough, my friend. Brandon, dream team right here, buddy. 3 superstars. Do you like it?
Well, I can tell you this. A couple years ago when I was playing with the Giants with Odell, he did like Garoppolo. But I don't know if he still loves him how the last couple years played out. But this isn't bad. It isn't bad. I don't see this happening, Wiles. I'm sorry. But, you know, Bill Belichick will bounce back. Here's the deal, guys. The answer is it's both. Both of these guys are considered the GOAT. They are the GOAT because of each other. It's easy to lean towards Tom Brady right now because in his first year with Tampa Bay, he's now in his 10th Super Bowl. So it's easy to say that. But at the end of the day, you got to look at what Bill Belichick brings to the table and why he's so special. Bill Belichick, from a pure football point of view, like, this dude is next level. There's nobody that can even be in the same room with him. The closest person is Coach Sean Payton. There's a lot of guys that innovate, but this dude has been running the same system for 20 years. It's about, when do I call it? How do I call it? What guy do I put in this position? And that's what makes him great. Special teams. They're one of the greatest units every single year. That's not Tom Brady. That's nobody else but Bill Belichick preaching to those guys how important special teams are. Defense, same thing. And I can go on and on from a football standpoint. They knew when I played with the Jets, when I lined two inches outside of the numbers, Greg, what I was going to do when I had my right foot up. I saw those guys communicating. When I retired, I said, what were you guys doing? They said, Brandon, tendencies. Bill came in and said, when he does this, do this, he's going to run right into you. Leadership, Greg, you know this. Talent only takes you so far, whether you're a coach or a player. Leadership, he's probably the most studied leader in all of business. And the last thing is putting the team together. He does everything, Greg. He's the general manager. He hires the coaches. He cuts the players. He trades for the players. He signs players. He drafts players. So when you think about this, you can't have this conversation about, is it one or the other? It's absolutely both. You have the GOAT on each side. Now, where he made a mistake, Greg, and you notice, when you have a quarterback like this, whether it's Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, you let the fans and everybody else tell him it's time to hang it up. That's where he made a mistake. He should have let Tom Brady stay as long as he wanted.
I agree with that. But I want to touch on what Nick said about Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because I disagree. If I understand what Andy Reid resume read and what it was prior to getting the Super Bowl job done with the Kansas City Chiefs, but for years we were saying, well, is Andy Reid a Hall of Fame quarterback head coach? Is Andy Reid an elite coach? And it was why? Because he hadn't won the Super Bowl. Because he didn't, Donovan McNabb didn't do that for him. And so we see a quarterback that he finds that he's willing to get rid of Alex Smith, who was playing lights out, to go to this young man that we now see as a future Hall of Famer if he keeps on this trend and on this path. And so I say to that, Nick, like, it does matter who you partner with. And then when you talk about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, I think what we've seen with Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay is a team that was so willing to do whatever it took with, as far as personnel, they already had that pretty much set, but play calling, allowing him to have a role in that. And I know people are going to say, well, Tom Brady had a role when he was in New England. But when you have developed a culture and a system, it's kind of already put in place, and you tweak things. You don't completely revamp. They were willing to revamp some things in Tampa to ensure that it looked different and it felt the way Tom Brady wanted it to feel. And that's why they are where they are.
And that was the sacrifice that Belichick was not willing to make with regards to Tom Brady, which is a big reason why he left. All right, we got to take a turn. Fox Super 6 is giving away